Currently in my lap, I have the great big basket of disappointment. So today's video is going to be about disappointing products that did not work for me and that I really had higher expectations for. Some of these are skincare products, and I do want to preface this by saying just because something didn't work for me does not mean that it will not work for you. We're all different, especially when it comes to skincare. It's such a personal thing. I am going to start with my most recent disappointment, I guess, and it's this cleansing balm by Kat Burki. Kat Burki is one of my favorite skincare brands, and every single thing that I have tried by this brand has been fantastic, so that's why my expectations were super high. So I bought this. This is the Vitamin C Nourishing Cleansing Balm. Don't really love it as much as I was expecting to love it because it's by one of my favorite skincare brands, and I love cleansing balms, but even though this says it's a cleansing balm, it really feels nothing like a cleansing balm. It does not feel, it's not oily and emollient at all. It just kind of feels like a very light gel lotion, but then it doesn't rinse clean either. It's not effective at removing makeup, so I was just using it as a morning cleanser, but it doesn't rinse clean. It kind of leaves somewhere in between an oily and a waxy residue on the skin after I rinse it off, and even if I rinse it with a washcloth, I can still feel a residue on my skin, and I'm just not crazy about that. I just didn't love it as much as I was expecting to, so I was disappointed by that. Speaking of residues and textures I can't get behind, this is the Body Shop Dead Sea Salt Scrub. I love the fact that the salt particles in this were really large, so I thought that it would just give me a really good exfoliation, but for some reason the actual consistency, like the cream that's in here, is so hard to work with. I feel like I have to go in with like a fistful of soap to wash off all the residue, then the shower is a mess. All the other Body Shop scrubs are so much better than this. Next up, I have an eyeliner, and this is by Estee Lauder. I am generally a fan of Estee Lauder eyeliners. I have a black one, a brown one, and a rose gold one, so I thought that this would be a really pretty color for the waterline. The color number 08 Pearl, and it's the Double Wear Stay in Place Eye Pencil, and it's just a very subtle, frosty, shimmery, pearly shade, but this just applies really patchy. It doesn't show up in my waterline at all, but the rose gold one that I have shows up in my waterline, and it's the exact same formula, so I don't know why that one shows up and this one doesn't. It doesn't show up in my waterline, and even when I just try to use it on the skin, like if I try to use it as an inner corner highlight, it's just super patchy and hard to work with. The next product I have here is the Super Facialist by Unibrennan, the Probiotic Micellar Cleansing Water. This irritates my eyes like no other, and I don't usually have a problem with micellar waters. I've tried a whole bunch of different brands. I'm using the Garnier one, which is awesome. But this one, it's not good at removing makeup. I was just doing some lipstick swatches on the back of my hand, and then I was trying to remove it with this micellar water and a cotton pad, and it didn't even remove the lipsticks properly on the back of my hand. So not a big fan of this, and I would not recommend it. And I'm disappointed because I generally love the Super Facialist by Unibrennan line. I think it's a really good skincare brand. Speaking of good skincare brands that I have high expectations of, this is the Natura Bissé. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is the C+C Vitamin Splash Citric Revitalizing Spray. So this is a face mist. It has vitamin C in it. It's supposed to refresh and plump the skin, make you look really nice, bright and glowy. It's supposed to help set makeup, all these wonderful things. This is very expensive. This is $55. I would not repurchase this, and I'm disappointed by it because again, it doesn't smell good, which is, it's expensive, and it's not that hard to make vitamin C things smell nice. Like all the Ole Henriksen vitamin C products smell fantastic. It also has a very high alcohol content, so I just kind of resorted to using this as a makeup setting spray. So afterwards, if I just want to take away that powdery look after I use setting powder, I will just use this afterwards. And don't get this in your eyes because it will burn. Next up, I have a very expensive concealer, and this is the La Mer Radiant Concealer. I think that's what it's called. The Radiant Concealer, broad spectrum, SPF 25. This is in the shade medium, and I loved this when I first bought it, and then I'm not sure what happened. I don't like it at all anymore. It just does not, it won't stay. I'm not sure if maybe my under eye area has changed. I'm trying really hard to use it up just because it was so expensive. It looks super, super cakey, and even when I don't use a lot of it at all, then it's really hard to blend. It kind of accentuates any texture that I have underneath my eyes. I've tried so many ways of using it. I've tried using my finger, tried using the beauty blender, tried using a brush. It just looks really bad after like 2 hours of wear. So I'm disappointed because this is such an expensive concealer, and I'm disappointed because I loved it so much and now I really don't like it. The next product I have here is an essence. If you've watched some previous skincare videos of mine, you will know that I've been kind of getting into essences. I like the concept of them, and I was sent this, and this is by the brand Biotherm. This is the Life Plankton Essence, and I loved the concept of it, and I love the Biotherm brand. I think it's a really nice brand. They have some great products, but I'm disappointed in this because it made me break out. I really like the texture of this. I just really felt that hydration, even though the texture is very light, but it made me break out, and I know that it was product related because this was the only thing that I had changed, and it wasn't like period breakouts. It was just small blemishes just kind of scattered all over my face, which doesn't usually happen, so I stopped using it. Next up we have the By Terry Hyaluronic Summer Bronzing Hydra Veil. I bought this because I loved the way the tester felt on the back of my hand. So the concept of this is really cool. It has a matte finish to it, and it does tint your skin and makes my skin look so natural. It literally looks like I've spent time in the sun. It does not have any coverage, and I actually do have it on in one of my tutorials. I will put a link to it up on the screen if you want to see what this looks like on. But the reason this is in my disappointing products video is because the texture is just really hard to work with, and it doesn't always work. I feel like it requires a lot of time for me to get this to work, and this is $70. I just feel like with a $70 bronzing primer, it should be more user-friendly. When I spend $70 on a product, I expect it to perform a lot better than this. So it looks really, really nice when I can get it to work, and it's a unique product, but it's just not worth the high price tag. And finally, probably the biggest disappointment of them all, and it's one of the most hyped products on the internet ever since it came out, and it is Sunday Riley Luna. So many people loved this, and they talk about how it changed their skin. All these stellar reviews, so I had super high expectations for this when I bought it. It's an expensive product. I've been using it for about a year. Just have about a quarter of the bottle left, and I can safely say that this does nothing for my skin. Maybe if you're super, super, super sensitive, if you've never used any type of acid exfoliant on your skin, maybe then if you start using this, you will see a dramatic result. If you do want to dabble in retinols, I think the SkinCeuticals is a great place for you to start. They have either, I think, the 0.5 or the 1.0 concentration, so you can start with the lower concentration and then see how your skin reacts to that, and then maybe then bump it up to the 1.0, or you can go see a dermatologist and get a prescription for a tretinoin cream. So those are all the products that I have been disappointed by over the last year, and I would like to know what your preference is when it comes to these videos. Would you rather me do one video with a whole bunch of disappointing products like this one, or would you rather me just kind of scatter it throughout the year and just show a product here and there at the end of a favorites video if I didn't like it? So let me know if you would rather just one big video of disappointments, or would you rather me spread out the disappointments throughout the year? I personally like to watch one big video of a whole bunch of disappointing products, but I thought that I would ask just to see what your preference would be when it comes to these things. So I hope you're having an awesome day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.